So I want to put a video together to kind of explain how to calculate kilowatt hours for anyone that's interested in kind of calculating their bills to see how much the energy their loads take, or maybe to build a solar system. All this stuff kind of works on the same principles. So energy itself can come in various different forms. You can have electrical energy, you can have mechanical energy, you can have nuclear energy. Electrical is usually in kilowatt hours, mechanical newtons, and nuclear is some type of radiation measurement. So the key here is between any of the different types of energy, I can go back and forth when I convert it, and it doesn't change the amount of energy that I have. So in this case, if I have kilowatt hours and I go to newtons, I can go back to BTUs, and then when I go back to kilowatt hours, I'll always end up with the same amount of energy that I started with. So the energy conversion process, I can't basically magically create or destroy energy. So how to calculate kilowatt hours? So a kilowatt simply is a kilo meaning 1,000. So 1,000 watts is 1 kilowatt. So if I want to go from watts to kilowatt, I simply divide by 1,000. So a couple examples of this: 5,000 watts divided by 1,000 is 5 kilowatts. 500 watts divided by 1,000 is 0.5 kilowatts. Similarly, for 250, you have 0.25 kilowatts, and 100 is 0.1 kilowatts. Now, if I want to go from kilowatts to watts, I do the opposite, and I multiply by 1,000. So 5 kilowatts times 1,000 is 5,000 watts, or 0.5 kilowatts times 1,000 is 500 watts. So it's kind of like the opposite of what I did before. So how do I find energy with respect to power? So that's a simple question people get confused on. Energy really is power times time. So how much power I use in kilowatts, for example, times how long I use it, which is usually hours, that's defined as a kilowatt hour, or KWH. So let's say I have a furnace that runs at 3.5 kilowatts for 1 hour. So I multiply the two together, right? And that gives me essentially power times time. And time is always in hours. So 3.5 kilowatts times 1 hour is 3.5 kilowatt hours. So let's say now that I have a coffee maker that draws 300 watts, or 0.3 kilowatts for 30 minutes. What's my energy consumption? Or how much energy do I use? So that's simple. Again, my energy is my power times my time. So I take my kilowatts, 0.3, times my time, but this must be in hours. So 30 minutes divided by 60 is 0.5 hours. So now I take my 0.3 kilowatts times my time, and I have my kilowatt hours, which is 0.150 kilowatt hours. So the key to doing this is, if you don't have full hours, figure out what your minutes is in hours, or you can do essentially x divided by 60, or you can do seconds, which is x divided by 3,600. That puts everything into hours. So let's say now I wanted to figure out how much energy the coffee maker takes and the furnace takes. So I run the coffee maker 30 minutes a day for 30 days, and the furnace for 1 hour a day for 30 days. We know that the coffee maker kilowatt hour consumption is 150, and I multiply that by 30 days, and I should get 4.5 kilowatt hours for running that coffee maker. Now, if I use the furnace for 30 days for an hour, we knew that was 3.5 kilowatts, and if I use that for every hour, and I know that the days in a month is 30, then that should give me roughly about 105 kilowatt hours. Now, if I want to know what they're together, all I got to do is simply sum them up, and that's how much energy running both of those will cost. So if I actually figure out what the cost is, now I just multiply my utility rate, which is 12 cents a kilowatt hour, and that comes out to be $13.14. So let's say I got a solar system and it produces 4 kilowatts, and I only run it for half a month, and I want to see how that works with my two loads, my furnace and my coffee maker, right? So now we're going to kind of combine the two here and figure out how much energy I'm going to use at the end of the month. So I know that my solar system at 4 kilowatts, if I run it for 8 hours a day, make it simple here, times 15 days, which is half a month, I know I'll produce 480 kilowatt hours. Again, kilowatts times hours times days is how much energy that solar system produces. So that's the panels themselves. So anytime that we produce energy, we have what they call a negative value. It's just the way the convention goes. So we know that the loads are 109.5 kilowatt hours for the coffee maker and the furnace. If I add all that together, I get 370.5 kilowatt hours, or in this case negative. So I'm actually overproducing. So I'm producing more than my loads are consuming, and at 12 cents a kilowatt hour, I would technically make $44.46 from the utility company. Well, there you have it. That's basically how all simple loads work. So hopefully I've demystified kilowatt hour and consumption and how loads are calculated, and that'll help you better determine your utility bills and how all this stuff is calculated. Please like and subscribe to my channel.